Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sarah Jane, your hostess for the evening, and I see we've already got somebody saying hello already. Jenny, welcome. Lovely to have you here with us. This evening's program is, we've got a lovely panel discussion. We've got three lovely guests for you this evening. Actually, one from America, two from the UK, so that's lovely. I love having a spread of people because the whole thing is this is meant to be worldwide for everybody out there. And the discussion we've got this evening is valuing and honouring yourself. And my three guests are so going to be able to help you with this. And we've got Mandy and we've got Shelley as well. Hi, welcome. So I'm going to start, right, this is the first page that's come up for me because I've got a little introduction from each of my guests. So our first guest I'm going to be introducing, because it's the first page that's come up, is David McLEOD, who's on the Pacific coast in America. So it's only, what, 11:30 there, isn't it, David?
Yep.
So David McLEOD is an international speaker and facilitator on the subjects of conscious self-creation and shadow mastery. As a coach who works with individuals and groups, David shares his passion in supporting the creation and maintenance of powerful, spiritually rewarding relationships for everyone. David is the founder and co-host of Life Matters TV. He is also the founder of The Magic of I Am and the creator of the popular daily affirmation program. Okay, thank you for that. That's David. And Sue Stone, this has come up in the order they're showing on my screen, so this is lovely. So Sue Stone. Several years ago, Sue Stone's life hit rock bottom, both emotionally and financially. Following her marriage breakdown, she was left with enormous debt, faced repossession of her home, and had 3 young children to bring up alone with no income. The turning point came when she had just £10 left in her purse. She has totally transformed her life and is regularly in the media, including Channel 4's The Secret Millionaire. Sue is a happiness and empowerment coach, motivational speaker, and inspirational business mentor, and now helps other people from all walks of life transforming their lives too. Sue also set up the Sue Stone Foundation for those wishing to join her on her mission to make a difference, and is the author of Love, Life, Live Life. So welcome to Sue as well. And finally, we have Tony Brown with us. Tony has had a career spanning 40 years with such diverse occupations ranging from being an engineer, police officer and car salesman, through to running successful businesses as a financial advisor, recruitment consultant and mortgage broker. Outside of work, he pursued his passion of motorsport and is a 3 times British and European motor racing champion. In 2014, so earlier this year, he started his personal development company called Ultimate Positivity. This has been born out of his life's experiences of never allowing conditioned thinking or fear of what society or other people may think hold him back. Tony's mission is to inspire and empower others to value and honor themselves more and not only listen to their heart, which they know is true, but to act upon it also and thus live the life they desire. So as you can see, folks, or hear, we have 3 wonderful people here tonight, all come to share for you. And what I'd like each one of them to do, please, is just share a little bit before we go into a couple of questions that I've got set up for them. And we're going to have some interaction with our guests. And folks, please, if you have a question or a comment, we'd love to hear from you. And Karen, welcome, because I know you're in France, aren't you? So Karen, welcome for joining us again. Thank you very much indeed. So we'll go to Sue in the middle first. We'll do ladies first. Sue, welcome to Gift of Healing TV. Thank you for joining us. And just share a little about you.
Well, we heard a little bit about me now, just then, but in terms of valuing and honouring myself, I think through all my struggle, I had lost my identity, really, as I feel a lot of certain women can do. You know, I found myself being a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, and getting so caught up in the drama of life. And as you know, you just explained a little bit about me. You know, my life went from bad to worse, and it really did get to that rock bottom stage, both emotionally and financially. And I thought, my goodness me, when I got down to my last £10 that day and about to lose my home, I thought, my goodness me, if I don't do something, you know, for myself, no one else is going to do it for me. So that really was the turning point, where I started having to look inwardly and starting to learn to value and honour myself. So it's been an amazing journey, and I'm very glad now I can look back and think, my goodness me, if I hadn't gone through all that, I probably, well, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be the woman or the woman, the girl, whatever I am now. So I'm grateful now for what I've been through.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sue. Tony, let's come to you next. Welcome, and again, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. Yeah, a lot of what Sue has just said there has resonated with me in terms of on the topic of tonight of valuing and honouring yourself, valuing and honouring oneself. I think I can think back to many occasions in my life when I've done it, but at the time, because I was so young, maybe in my late teens or even in my 20s, making career choices, I wasn't actually recognising that was what I was doing until I got a little bit older, wiser, as they say, and reflected on it. And it came about really in terms of what I'm doing now with Ultimate Positivity. When I've reflected on it, I've really wondered why. Why is it that most people don't follow their heart, don't follow their true belief and vision of what they want to do, what they want to make their life become, and live the life that they want? So I've analysed that a lot over the years through personal development programs and teachings that I've attended and gone through and developed myself. And that's how I've come about with Ultimate Positivity in recent months, and I'm getting a phenomenal response through Facebook and some great followings, and it's all come from that. And as I get more and more into this valuing and honouring, I'm recognising that you can help people understand themselves and press a few buttons within themselves to actually get them to see that they can do it, they can achieve, and they can have and anything that they truly want and desire for themselves, and live the life that they want, rather than just becoming part of conditioned thinking in the way of life that society says you know, people believe that that's what they should have, when in actual fact they can have anything they like. Been a great fun.
Brilliant, thank you. And David, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much, Sarah, and also hello to Sue and Tony. It's nice to meet you guys, and welcome to everybody who's here. Well, you know, I think the truth for me is that when I was young, about 3 years old, I heard a message from my mother that really shaped the way I thought, and it was basically she told me that she knew me better than I knew myself, and as a result of that, I started looking to other people to tell me about who I am, you know, what I need to know about myself, what I want, what I need, and this grew into a 40-year journey of basically disowning myself. And as a result of that process, I ended up over a period of time becoming more and more resentful and angry, and that started leaking out in ways that started hurting people. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I realized how much damage I was doing because of this negative thinking that I had created for myself. And so I ended up looking for ways to reverse that thought process, although at the time I didn't really understand what had caused it or how it had come into being. It wasn't until I started doing some deep personal growth work in 1995 that some of this came into my awareness. So as a result of doing my work and learning about my shadow and all the dysfunctional beliefs that I had and everything else, I have come to realize how important it is to really own who I am, to really claim who I am and not let somebody else do it for me, because that just doesn't serve me at all. And so my journey over the last 10 years has been to try and help other people develop a greater sense of who they are, and I think what this world needs is a lot more people who are very, very firm and clear and grounded and centered in who they are, and not worried so much about pleasing other people or making sure that they meet all the requirements of society or any of that stuff. So that's been my work, that's my focus, and that's how I help people, you know, just to be themselves and to be in relationship. It's a wonderful journey, and I'm really happy to be here now.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Hopefully that's given our viewers and the people that then sort of watch the replay a chance to realise that our guests actually have been in that place of not valuing themselves, and to the extent that they've learned, just as I have with my story. For those of you that watched the very first programmes, I've certainly shared that, and I won't go into that now. But it is very much about, and Sue, you put it brilliantly, you know, wife, mother, sister, daughter, you know, sort of women especially are very, very good at saying, hi, I'm so-and-so's wife, or hi, I'm so-and-so's mother, rather than saying, hi, I am, giving their name, and then I'm the mother, the daughter, the whatever. So we're very good at not valuing and honouring ourselves in that respect. So, folks, this is what these wonderful guests are here to help you realise that it is okay to value and honour yourself. And so I'm going to come back to you one at a time. Is there an example that you can share with our viewers of what was going on in your life, and the fact that you suddenly turned around and said, for whatever reason, actually, this is what I want to do. I'm going to value, I'm going to honour me. Not that any of us ever set out to hurt anybody else, but it's about being true to self. So we started with Sue. We're actually going to go to Tony this time, because I like to do a bit of round robin, so we're not always coming back to the same people in the same order. So Tony, so have you got an example you can share?
Yeah, a couple of examples that come to mind. I think the one that really comes to my mind is when I was a young man in my 20s. I came out of an engineering apprenticeship, took a job. I wanted a job that was different, a bit of excitement in my life. I didn't know what I wanted. I don't think, you know, a lot of us at that age don't know what we want. And I took a career change as a police officer. Which was fun. It was great. You know, walking the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning, I saw another side of life. But what I really wanted to do in that job was be taught how to drive cars fast. So I wanted to be a traffic cop. And the years rolled by, a few years rolled by, and that's what I did. And you follow the set of courses that they do, and the driving, and et cetera, and fast forward 5 or 6 years, and I finally made it onto traffic, and I was driving a big car on my own. And I can remember the point that this happened in my life. It'll go with me to my deathbed. I can remember exactly where I was, what I was doing when I had this moment that sometimes, you know, most of us can relate to, that happens in our lives. This moment of, oh my God, what am I doing? And in that environment, in that culture, in that particular job, it's a very tough job, obviously, and it's tough externally on the streets, and it's tough internally as well, with all politics and what have you. But everyone in the job talks about not how many years they've served as a serving police officer. They talk about how long they've got to do. So if they've been in the job 10 years, they talk about, I've only got 20 years left to go. And it's almost like serving a sentence. And I've been in the job at that time 6 years. And I remember thinking, I've made it. I finally made it. I was driving my Ford Granada, and as it happens, it was driving down the promenade in Cheltenham one sunny summer afternoon, and I thought I was the kiddie. I really did. I thought I finally made it. I was, 26, 27 years of age, and voice in my head said to me, "So you got another 24 years of this?" And I must have driven literally about 100 yards, and I stopped at the next junction and thought, I'm not going to spend 24 years of my life just doing this. But at that point, all I wanted to do was what I was doing. But it was almost like once I'd got it, once I'd achieved it, I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. And it was one of the hardest steps I had to make. And it took me another year to to make the career change. It could have been a year of building up courage. It was a year of asking anybody and everybody that was around me, not only within that particular job, but my family, my friends, what they thought. Should I, is this a silly thing to do, to lead a career? I've got a 30-year career here with a very nice pension at the end of it. If I'd have stayed in that job, I would have retired a few years ago now. If I was still alive, that is, because it's a very dangerous job, obviously. And it took me, as I say, it took me a year from that point in time to actually leaving, and just about, with almost without exception, everybody advised me not to do it. It would not be a correct move. It wouldn't be the right thing to do. And I don't know what it was. It was that voice inside me, my heart, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do what everybody says and society says. Have a safe job. Not that there's something, that you can that even exists anymore. But I thought, no, it's not for me. It's not what I want to do. So it was very hard to make that wrench, but I did it, and I never looked back. Initially, the first few months were difficult, sure. But I never looked back. My life changed completely, and I've always used that as a pivotal point in my life of thinking, no, if I'd have stayed and done what everybody advised me to do, to have a safe career, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I have to say also, in fairness to the people I spoke to, when I was seeking advice from, as you do, from your friends and your family and your colleagues, several of them, about a year, 18 months later, literally put their arms around me, patted me on the back and said, well done, you've done it. And they actually then admitted to me that they didn't have the courage to do the same, even though they wanted to. Yeah. And that was what was behind their original comments. When someone says, no, you shouldn't be doing that, what they're talking about is their own fear. Mm-hmm. It's their own inside them that is actually manifests in the words of advice. So that for me is probably the most pivotal point in my life, and there's been a few others since along the way as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I hope that's sort of resonating with people and helping people realise that you can make a change. David, we'll come to you next.
Okay, well, thank you. I think, well, as I said, I had been spending the first 40 or so years of my life disowning myself. So in a very big way, I was not honoring myself at all. And that was costing me in a big way. It was creating this resentment and anger in me that was starting to come out and hurt people. And what happened was in, I guess it was 1992, that's when I had a wake-up call that made me realize just how much this was having an effect on people in my life. And I knew I had to do something. I had to make a change. And I unfortunately, where I lived, there was not a lot of support. I tried looking to ministers. I tried looking to family. I tried looking to various different support groups and stuff, but I really couldn't find the support I need. And so it took me about 3 years, but eventually I made the decision I didn't know what else to do, so I ended up leaving my family. And that was an extremely painful thing to do. And I ended up coming here to California. And in the process of coming down here, I remember the first couple of months I was here, I was just very, very depressed. And I was going through this whole self-judgment thing about, oh my God, what have I done? I've been so selfish. I'm doing all these bad things. My kids are going to hate me. I mean, all these stories were coming up in my mind. And yet, there was still some part of me that was being drawn towards doing personal growth work so I could figure out what had happened to myself. And to, where did I get lost? Where did I disappear to? How was it that I was always, deferring to other people, looking to other people to tell me what I needed and wanted, trying to please others. Where did I disappear to? So it was a very, very difficult and challenging time for me to do that, to find a way of start doing my own healing, while at the same time trying to stay connected to my kids. You know, I did it remotely for a while, but over time, as I did more and more work, and I started unraveling things, and I started doing therapy, and I did group work, and I did this, and I mean, I did so many things, it was crazy. And all of those steps, I would never have thought of them as honoring myself at the time, but now I look back on it and I realize just how much it was about helping me get back to who I am, so that I could be fully present for my kids, so that I could support them, so that I could be the kind of father and husband and friend and, you know, everything that I wanted to be, that is fully grounded in myself and not always disappearing in other people's stuff. So that was the big step that led me to, that was the first one that led me to moving towards a practice of honoring myself. And I do it regularly now. I honor myself all the time. I bless myself, and I give myself lots of love and support and health and you name it, so that I can be here a good long time, having as much positive impact on the world as I can. And I can't do that when I'm caught up in all that other negative stuff. So to me, it was just a necessary step that I had to go through in order to recognize the importance of I am, the importance of, for each of us to really claim who we are and to be centered and grounded in our true soul, our true heart. That's my truth.
Thank you so much, David. And Sue, let's come to you.
Oh, did I lose some volume there?
Oh, Sue, can you hear us?
Yep, I can. Good.
Yeah, with you.
It's a very good question. When I think back, because just about every area of my life went so horribly wrong. And as I say, the turning point when I took a step out and looked at myself was, you know, that when I got down to my last £10 and no idea where the next penny was going to come from, and I had 3 children to feed. But the biggest area, I think the greatest impact, even though I've had it in many, many areas of my life, you know, my inner world is very much my outer world and my financial world. However, the biggest change that means so much to me, that's so closest to my heart, was when with my children. I've got 3 children, Natalie, my daughter, who's also my PA, and I've got identical twin boys, Rich and Nick, and they were all young when I was going through all this stress and totally trying to be doing all the right thing for everybody else. Had no idea the power of learning to love yourself, learning to value yourself, the power of our thoughts, how we create our reality, how we interact with our attitude to life. And I was such a I was so stressed with the dramas of life. I joke that I've done it all badly very well. Been very caught up in the dramas of life. And my poor kids, I mean, I've done quite a lot of TV, and there's an interview where Natalie years ago said, yeah, I remember Mum, she was really stressed and snappy and shouted at us. And I felt that I was so snappy. I was so caught out there with what's going on. How am I going to deal with the bailiff? What am I going to say? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And the children, I snapped and snapped and snapped at them. And it was only when I really learned to, well, I had to do something to take responsibility for my life, to take a look at myself and reach out, you know, to learn to understand why and how life works, that I started to work on myself, value myself, and watch the negative self-talk, that destructive talk, which of course, as we know, just creates more drama internally, and of course we fire out at people around us. So be it that I could say that just every area of my life has transformed so beautifully, but I would say you asked for us to give one example. Mine would be the relationship I have with my children. I am proud of what I've achieved, but greatest thing is the difference when I learned to value myself and honor myself, give responsibility to my children as well. Just say, right, come on, we're in this together. Let's all share. Let's all grow. Let's all take responsibility. Share lots of love. And it really has been, I have the best relationship. Loads of people say to me, what is your secret to your children? Because 3 out of 3 of them are so beautiful and so respectful, so full of love. And that's, I have to say, is the one area I'm most proudest of. And the greatest example I can give, that when I learned to get that inner peace within myself by valuing and honoring myself, but making it a mission to work on myself. And one thing I would like to add, Sarah, is that, and with the other guys, David and Tony, I'm sure they'll totally agree with me, a lot of people know this stuff. We're told we should do this stuff. But it's all very well having that knowledge, and people say, well, I've read all the books, I've been on all the courses, but the knowledge doesn't do anything. There's no point in knowing what to do. You've got to do what you know and really apply it into your life. And the greatest investment anyone can make is to work on themselves and learn to self-heal, to self-love. I'm living proof. It's been the most incredible thing. And of course, once you honor and value yourself, I'm never ill either. I haven't been ill for years and years and years and years and years. So it's a total win-win situation.
Absolutely, so beautifully put, and thank you for sharing it. Now, I know that there are going to be people out there, because I hear this. Yes, but if you're going to just follow what you want to do, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, because sorry folks, I don't feel like this, but if you're going to just listen to yourself, you're going to follow your heart, if you're going to ignore everybody else, but that's being selfish. and I love my mother dearly, but I have heard this from her. As much as I've tried to say to her, Mum, you've got to do what's right for you. Yes, but that's being selfish. And I have got a story I will share with everybody once I've heard from all of you, in respect of what would you say to people? What could you say to people to try and help them to realize it's not being selfish, to honor and value yourself? So we'll start this time with David.
Well, I actually believe that it's selfish not to honor yourself. I think that's the real truth. Excuse me. And the other thing is, I'd like to distinguish between, there's two selves here. There's the self with all lowercase letters, and that's the part that I call my ego mind, that little chatterbox up there that's constantly telling me that I'm not good enough, that I'm not this, I'm not that I have to, stop doing this or else I'm going to upset somebody. All of that chatter is just my ego mind. And if I listen to that, then I am indeed being selfish in the lowercase sense of the word. But then there's the uppercase self, the S-E-L-F, that I call my spiritually empowered life force. That's the part of me that knows exactly what my purpose is in life, that knows how I'm supposed to be showing up, that knows how to deliver and share unconditional love, that knows how to be, an all completely open and accepting person. That part of me knows how. So anytime I am selfish with that guy in the lead, I am actually embracing myself and everyone else around me. I have a connection to everything, and I believe that kind of selfishness is actually necessary in our world. So when I'm honoring my uppercase self, what I'm doing is I'm following my truth, I'm following my heart, I'm following my soul, and I'm following my purpose and mission in life. And I can't do that when I'm listening to this guy up here that's telling me, oh, you have to please this person, you have to take care of that, you have to watch out for this, and blah, blah, blah. So to me, I think that it's a necessary part of life to be selfish in the uppercase sense of the word.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, David. We have got a comment from, I haven't had a chance to read it, so I'm going to be reading it as Shelley says, it's so inspiring to hear these stories, but at the same time understand the struggles that Sue, Tony and David have overcome. It personally gives me so much hope and inspiration to continue on the journey I have chosen to better my life recently. Thank you. And that's why we do this program. So, Sue, what would you say to people?
Well, I'm right there with what David's just said, so I'm not going to go in and repeat that, but I do believe, you know, that totally resonates with you, with me. But funny enough, I always joke, well, not joke, but to talk about my former life and my latter life. In my former life, I was very caught up in what I would call the kind of the old third dimensional world, and you know, the dramas and the you know, the greed, the control, the sort of doing it for all the wrong reasons. You know, I've done it all so well, so I can resonate to that, and I can relate to it. And I did used to think, oh, love yourself, honor yourself, value yourself. It's selfish. So I can understand that people see that. But you know what? We all talk from the space that we're in, the bubble of it. We all see our life in our own bubble of experience. And I think compassion and whatever. So that's okay if people feel like that. And we can't necessarily force them to think in another way. However, without reiterating and repeating exactly what David said, but also I feel, and I can only, when we are at a space within us that we're being true to who we are and how we feel, and we are at peace with ourselves, then we will get, everybody wins. That's what I tried to say earlier. My children, the relationship I have with my children, the everything gets better. We don't need to far out and put anybody down. You know,
Yeah.
When you're at peace with yourself, you're a happy, empowered person that's learned to value and honor themselves, but in a humble way. Humility is something, you know, people naturally have, and you know, I've had to learn that. And I think we can offer so much more to the world. I don't need to put anybody down. I don't need to criticize. You know, I hear so much stuff where people far out, get into fights, arguments, and I think, God, I just don't want to get caught in that drama. So really, it's so worth doing it, getting at that stage where you're being true to who you are, and it's far from selfish, because you can give, as David said, it's actually selfish not to you know, to not do it in a way. So does that make sense?
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you, Sue. Thank you. I suppose really what we're all saying, I am going to come to you, Tony, is there are times when you think the small self, as David was saying, you're thinking, oh, but what about so-and-so? What about this? What about the other? The truth of the matter is, to me, that what happens is when we try doing too much for others, we hold both of us back. We hold ourselves back, we hold that other individual back. By turning around and saying, that doesn't resonate with me, we wouldn't necessarily use those words, but it's, no, that's not right for me. The answer's no, not yes, when we've always said the yes. So it's about helping us to be true to ourselves, and when we're true to us, we're actually being true to those other people. We're empowering ourselves and we're empowering them at the same time. But Tony, let me come to you.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, great comments. I can only reemphasize both what David and Sue have said, and in particular, I mean, David hit the nail right on the head right at the beginning when he talks about the word yourself. And I often write it in on my posts. Quite recently, in the last few days, I've been doing valuing and honouring yourself on Facebook, and I deliberately write your in small letters and self in the large capital letters, because that's exactly what it's about. But it's a very relevant point, because some people will consider, well, hang on, you're just being selfish. It's all about me, or you. But again, as Sue has hit on as well, it's about how much you value and being true to your real true self. Like, no one really wants to get caught up in dramas and crisis, and it's about being at peace. If you follow your true path, value and honour yourself enough to be able to do that, you do go, again, as Sue said, you go to another place. When you're in that other place, your relationships improve all round. People that are close to you, especially family members. I have great relationships with my children, as Sue does with hers, and I'm sure David does as well. But that comes from being in a place where you are at peace inside here, because you are valuing and honouring yourself, doing what you want to do, and the ripple effect from that is phenomenal, because you become the person who you really deep down inside know you are and can be, and that resonates so well that other people feel it. You actually then start to empower other people when they can see that you are in that other place, and that you are open-minded, that you are empathetic with people. You can be more understanding, and as Sue alluded to there, you're not snapping, you're not putting people down, you're not bickering, you're not, that's not a world for me. It's a world I've been involved in the past, as I'm sure most people have. And when you're involved in a world like that, there is a voice inside of you, and when you look deep inside in a quiet moment, that thinks there's got to be more to life than this, and there is, but you have to stand. You have to be strong, and you have to stay true to your inner beliefs, and be the person who you will become, the person you want to be, and you can be, by being true to those values. And again, I think, as Sue said, at the end of the day, what that means is everybody wins. You live the life you lead, you become a better person for it, and it's that ripple effect of affecting others around you, and not just people that are close, people you meet in everyday walks of life, people you speak to on the phone. I often have it said to me that people feel that just by talking to me, or when they meet me the first time, they feel empathetic. They feel, oh, I get it. I wish I had a pound or a dollar for every time somebody said to me, haven't I met you somewhere before? It's just a very empathetic feeling. So it's not about being selfish. It's about being, honouring that value and the ripple effect, and being at peace. Really is one of the best things, and it will enrich your life in terms of the making the relationships that you have with people that are close to you even stronger than they were before.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tony. And you all agree, but you've all come from slightly different perspectives. I sort of got a little story, and this is the story of a family fairly recently. There's the grandmother, the children, and the grandchildren. And there was a 30th birthday at the beginning of the year, and the grandmother decided that she was going to throw a big party for the whole family for this grandson's 30th birthday. Then in November, the next grandson also had a 30th birthday, and her reaction was, I did that for the first grandson, I've now got to do it for the next one. Well, she's nearly 80. And actually she's getting to the stage where she wants to slow down. She doesn't want to do quite so much. And she was thinking, I don't really want to do it. Not that she loves this grandson any less. It's just that she suddenly realised the rod she'd made for her own back, because she's trying to treat them all the same. The truth of the matter is, she would have preferred to have gone to one of her daughters, the mother of that grandson, spent the weekend there, been able to have some time with him there, and done it that way for his birthday. Actually, that's exactly what he wanted. The problem was they didn't talk. And so she ended up by throwing the party. He ended up by having to go down to her. The whole family ended up by having to go down to her. And it wasn't what either of them wanted. What they both wanted was exactly the same thing, and they didn't get it. That's what happens when you try and second guess what other people want. It's not about treating everybody the same. And the only way you treat them the same is to say, what would you like? What could I do for you? How would you like to celebrate? And she's got 3 more grandchildren. So there's 3 more 30ths to come. She's not going to be able to do it. But if only they had talked, and rather than saying, I'm going to treat you all the same, it's, I'm going to treat you the same by giving you, you tell me what you'd like. That would be so much better. And that is honouring and valuing yourself by being honest. And so have you, we're coming very close to the end. So I'm going to come to each of you. Just a final word that you would like to share. So we'll come to you first, Sue.
Really, I was going to comment. I think that story is lovely, and it's so true. I always say communication is the key to everything. Every single relationship you have, be it business, personal, whatever, I totally get that, and having the courage to speak the truth. And or not even blurting it out, you know, with diplomacy, with care, and articulating it well. Sometimes people speak their truth and they're so blunt because they want to speak their truth. So I think there's a way we can do that. But one thing, just going back to what Tony was saying as well, was of course when you're doing this, that you was talking about the ripple effect, but energetically, don't forget, when we're feeling good, we're in a good space, and we've learned to value ourselves, we're giving off an energy, a vibration of that, and scientifically, you know, we draw to us things that are on the same vibrational resonance. So, you know, life just gets better and better. So it's well worth valuing yourself. Then you will attract more into your life for you to value as well. So it's common sense when you know and understand how powerful it is.
Brilliant, thank you, Sue. Tony.
I would say I'd pick up on something in that lovely story you mentioned there, Sarah, and it's about the 2 people not communicating. And I think the biggest thing I think the mistake a lot of people make is that second guessing what the other person wants or thinks, and it's more to do with, don't try and concern yourself with what you think other people think. More often than not, you're wrong anyway, and they weren't thinking that in any case. And it's a lot of people are concerned about how they're going to be judged. Rightly or wrongly, people will probably judge you anyway. That's not an issue. That's a whole other topic we could talk about, I'm sure. So my little tip will be, don't concern yourself with what you think other people may or may not think, because more often than not, they don't think that at all.
Brilliant. And more often than not, they're not thinking about you, they're thinking about what's going on in their life anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
David.
Yeah, just to add on to what Tony was saying, we just did an episode on Life Matters TV about judging, a whole half hour about it. It was really powerful and a lot of fun. But what I was going to say is, one of the things that I notice about interactions with people, when I ask someone to do something, so there is actual communication going on. When I ask someone to do something and they say yes, not because they want to do it, but because they want to please me, there's something about that energy that just doesn't feel right to me. And then they don't end up doing a very good job. They're just doing it because they want to please me. I am much more in tune with someone who says, no, I won't do that for you, period, because that's honest. I may not like the answer, but the truth is, at least it's honest. So then I know when they do say yes later on to something else, I'll be much more trusting. It's easier for me to trust somebody who fully honors themselves enough to say yes when they mean yes and no when they mean no, and to really hold a good balance for themselves. That's what I would say.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, folks. We are coming to the end, but this I found on Facebook, and I just thought this fitted what we are doing so beautifully, and it's called I Choose. To live by choice, not by chance. To be motivated, not manipulated. To be useful, not used. To make changes, not excuses. To excel, not compete. I choose self-esteem, not self-pity. I choose to listen to my inner voice, not to the random opinions of others. And I just thought that said all of that so beautifully about what we've been talking about this evening. And I am going to say a huge, huge thank you to our 3 guests, to Sue Stone, Tony Brown, and David McLeod. Thank you. Folks, if you wish to learn more about these 3 amazing people who've taken their time on the 17th of December, just before Christmas, to come and share with you, the replay email, which will come out to you, will have all their websites in. For those of you watching this on YouTube, look at the information under YouTube. You will find all their website information so that you can connect with these people and find out more about them if you choose to. And I encourage you to do that. And thank you so much for those of you who are watching and listening. But Shelley, for your lovely comment, and I think you've probably said it for everybody. Oh, Jenny. Thank you, Sue, Tony, David, and of course Sarah. A really informative evening. Thank you, Jenny, and we've had Andrea here as well. So thank you to our viewers for this evening. Next, there is not a program next Wednesday or the following Wednesday because that's Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. However, we have got a program on Monday, the 29th at 7:30 p.m. There will be a meditation for you folks. So please do feel free to come and join us. And oh, right, Mandy, thank you so much, everyone. You're great people. Great webinar from Shelley. Thank you, and Karen, thank you very much for sharing so much. It's a very inspiring, thoughtful, and provoking. This is the value of what we share. This is why we're here to do this, and this is why I've had such wonderful guests come on and join. So, if everyone wants to say a chorus of a cheerio, we're going to say love, peace, and light. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas, New Year. Christmas and New Year, folks. Namaste.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sue, David. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.